Early detection is always the best option for treating cancers.
God can use the medical knowledge to treat you. It doesn't have to be by a special prayer miracle.
The incidence of prostate cancer gradually rises with age and peaks at the age of 65. As long as a man maintains his testes throughout his lifetime, he's likely to have prostate cancer, or he maintains his testes beyond puberty.
The World Health Organization has defined cancer as the uncontrolled growth of cells which can spread to different parts of the body. It is now a leading cause of death globally, with an estimated 13% of deaths being from the deadly disease. The world body paints a grim picture of an estimated 8.2 million people dying yearly from cancer, and a projection that there will be a 70% increase in new cases of cancer over the next 2 decades. And while the world is battling to come to grips with this deadly scourge, Nigeria is faced with an even grimmer reality. An estimated 100,000 Nigerians are diagnosed yearly with cancer, and of that number, 80,000 die from the disease. That's prompted a lot of awareness campaigns both from the Nigerian government and private concerns. And yet statistics show that early detection of the disease in Nigeria is still very minimal. The Nigerian Airforce has thrown its cap in the ring and joined the fight to reduce the high number of deaths from cancer in Nigeria. In December 2016, it established a state-of-the-art cancer center at the 461 Nigerian Airforce Hospital in Kaduna.
The purpose of establishing this center is to provide a modern facility with capability of early detection of most cancers commonly affecting personnel and other people within the local community. The center has been equipped with facilities for screening cancers of breast, cervix, prostate, colon, and liver, among others.
It is taking its fight further. Kick Cancer Out of NAF Bases is a program aimed at raising awareness on the disease as a first step in stemming its incidence in the country. The campaign is also meant to encourage both service personnel, their families and civilians to use the facilities provided by the Nigerian Air Force to reduce the scourge of the disease. The campaign is hinged on breaking the secrecy attached to the disease, with the hope that it will encourage Air Force personnel and civilians in their vicinities to be more open about testing so that more lives can be saved. The campaign started with a sensitization forum at the Nigerian Air Force base in Kaduna.
Kick cancer out of Nigerian Air Force bases. As most of us are aware, since his assumption into office as the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Bakar paid significant attention to the general welfare of Nigerian Air Force personnel through several strategies.
According to the WHO, there are more than 100 variations of cancer, but in Nigeria, leading causes of death are breast, cervical, and prostate cancer.
According to World Health Organization, WHO, breast and cervical cancers are the most common causes of cancer-related deaths in women between the ages of 15 to 45. It is estimated that 1 in every 25 women are at risk of developing breast cancer in her lifetime. Also, 1 in every 400 women would develop cervical cancer in her lifetime. This ratio is quite alarming. In this vein, as it applies to the men,
these 3 variations are discussed at length at this forum, which brings together experts in the field. Dr. Monday Yokudi is a consultant surgeon at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital. He says the longer a woman menstruates in her lifetime, the more susceptible she is to developing breast cancer.
If a patient has cancer in one of the breasts, then the other breast has an increased chance of developing cancer. Let's not forget that men too develop cancer of the breast. And when men develop cancer of the breast, it is more deadly because there's very small room. So before a short time, the cancer has already spread to the muscle and to the bone because there's no much breast.
Dr. Sam Oja speaks on cervical cancer and starts off by providing statistics of cervical cancer-related deaths.
More than one woman will die at the end of today, probably buried because of cervical cancer. It is stated that every woman who has ever known a man is at risk of developing cervical cancer. If you have cervical cancer and it is diagnosed early enough, it can be cured. Even though cervical cancer is a very dangerous disease, it gives a lot of time for you to check and correct the progression. So when it becomes cervical epithelial neoplasia, which is pre-cancer, it's not yet cancer, you still have a long time to move from here to cancer.
Top on the list of risk factors that increases a woman's chances of developing cervical cancer is smoking.
The risk factors that may increase your risk of developing cervical cancer include the following. Smoking. I think smoking has been caused, I don't know. Smoking is implicated in almost every bad thing. Then infection with high risk human papilloma virus. That means if you are infected, reinfection with high risk, especially 16 and 18, it can lead to the progression of it. And then if you have a sexual intercourse at an early age,